Music Therapy Connections, a place to learn about and celebrate creative arts therapy. Each week, we'll explore new ways that music, art, and dance can reach, connect with, and help individuals of all stages of health and wellness. Hi, I'm Bree, Beynon, a board-certified music therapist and the managing partner for the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. Tune in as I interview professionals from healthcare and educational backgrounds on the impact of the creative arts. If you prefer to watch our live video stream, simply visit www.pbmti.com. Hello, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're listening to and watching Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. I'm your host, Bree Beynon. I'm a board-certified music therapist, a certified neurologic music therapist, and the managing partner for the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute. We are a private music therapy practice located here in South Florida, serving Martin, Palm Beach, Broward, and Miami-Dade counties. So wherever you're joining us from tonight, we're so glad that you're here to learn a little bit more about the creative arts therapies in our community, whether it's working in healthcare setting or educational setting or community-based setting. And we're going to be talking a little bit about all three of those today. Not only are we going to be learning from one of our PBMTI music therapists, which is so exciting, here in the community, but also we're going to learn about how music can reach individuals across many cultures, ages, religions, backgrounds, because we recognize that music is a tool unlike any other that's able to do that. So we have one of our very own therapists here today, Tammy Lim. And I'm so excited to introduce you to her. Not only is she going to be sharing about her experience as a music therapist, but also about her background coming from Malaysia and now here going to school and working in the United States. And about halfway through the show, we're going to connect with a friend, a colleague of hers who is actually in Malaysia right now, where it is a 12-hour difference, and it is 6 a.m. there. So thank you so much to Sheen, who's going to be calling in and joining us at 6:30 a.m. Remember, we're very, very thankful for that, that she's going to call in and share about the work that she's doing in Malaysia. And also, we're going to talk about what that role looks like, how that's different there. Because again, as we mentioned, music is one thing that no matter where we come from, where we live in this world, connects all of us. It's the cliche, but a very true one, to say that music is the universal language. And I have to say, from a personal standpoint, coming from an area in upstate New York where I don't even know if I really knew what multiculturalism was, to coming to South Florida, which is the multicultural hotspot of one of the many hotspots of the United States, it was a little bit of a culture shock for me in a really good way, because was very excited to get to learn about many different cultures that were foreign to me, and to not only learn about them, but to really appreciate and celebrate them and be a part of that. So a few of the different cultures that I've had the opportunity to become a little bit more immersed in has been one, the Spanish-speaking community, and another being a Jewish Hebrew community. They were two different communities, religions, cultures different than my own, that I've just loved learning about, being down here in South Florida, learning the music of, learning the cultures of, the food has been so wonderful. So again, you don't really need to necessarily be able to speak the same language always as someone you're working with. And if you're a music therapist or a musician or a caregiver or a friend or anyone in the community, a professional, that can be a barrier sometimes, right? If we don't speak the same language as someone, especially if we're working with those with memory disorders, they'll often revert back to their original language, wherever that is. And here in South Florida, that could be a myriad of languages, someone from Europe or Latin countries, wherever they might come from. And that can definitely create a cultural barrier. And music is one way to break through that. In a way that was pretty incredible, even surprising to myself, that for pretty much the better part of a year, I was able to lead 2 bilingual groups, Spanish-speaking groups. And my conversational Spanish, despite my 5 years of middle school into high school training, is muy mal. So there's not a whole lot of conversation I can have. Thank goodness for the aides and those that work with the centers that could do some translating. But one thing that needs no translation is the music. Whether we as a music therapist or any kind of professional are able to learn a little bit of a language to share that, it's just enough to start building that rapport. And from there, just improvisation, like we talk a lot about, just using the instruments or just humming together, singing together, anything that makes that initial connection is going to be so powerful in bridging that cultural gap. And you're having fun together. So you're building that trust, building that rapport, and it's able to kind of open up a lot more situations. So someone is feeling very frustrated or very scared because suddenly no one around them speaks the same language as them, and they're back in a place in their life where everybody around them spoke their language. That can be very threatening, that can be very scary, and that's just one opportunity for music to help ease that environment for someone, and maybe to help relationships not only with a music therapist, but for those around them, and other caregivers, other staff, because you're all participating in that together. Another example of that happened today. I was working in a medical unit rounding, and the first session that I went to, the first patient that I went to visit, she was there with her husband, and she said, "You probably don't, but do you happen to know any Hungarian music?" I said, "Well, I do know one song that I think I played 5 years ago that I learned for a patient." And her husband got so excited. He says, I'm from now Hungary, that and he was a Holocaust survivor that now obviously has emigrated to the States, but was from Hungary, speaks Hungarian. And he knew the one song that I knew. And I said, "Well, I'm not sure if I remember all the words, so please help me with it." And from there, we spent the next 45 minutes together with him teaching me different songs in Hungarian and Yiddish, and me writing them down, and him spelling them for me, and then singing the melody to me. And honestly, me just facilitating through playing the chords, knowing that Yiddish, Hebrew, Hungarian music is usually in minor keys, follows the same kind of 1-4-5, sorry, speaking to musicians who might be listening, but knowing those cultural implications of the music is so important too, and was able to foster that connection. Just knowing one Hungarian song that I learned years ago opened up that whole opportunity for a 45-minute session with a patient who was receiving a brand new chemo drug for the first time and feeling really scared. It was a really, really powerful moment. So again, you don't have to be a music therapist, trained, have any special sort of degree or certification to use music as a tool to connect, not only with people in your community who are of different backgrounds, from different cultures, but also different religions, of different age groups. Music is a connector for those who are children up to generations, grandparents' generations. Music's a huge way to bring those generations together. So we can be aware of this by doing a few different things. One, recognizing cultural considerations of the people around us and what would be meaningful to them, what would be special to them, and also understanding our own culture and wanting to share that as well, where you're knowing your own background and what's special about you and what your strengths are to share is all part of using music as a cultural connector. So before we get into talking with Tammy today, again, one of our music therapists at PBMTI, also working locally at Trustbridge Hospice, she's going to be sharing with us about her journey from being from Malaysia, coming to the States for her schooling, her music therapy education, working here, and also getting a call from a colleague of hers who's in Malaysia now to share about the work that she's doing. Before we do that, in the spirit of our time of sharing a little sing-along, I want to share a song that, one of my favorite songs that I've learned since moving to this area and learning songs in different languages from different cultures, different than my own. This is one of my favorite Spanish songs that resonates a lot with a lot of my patients from Central and South America. And it's a very recognizable tune, so as always, I hope you will feel free to sing along and join me. This is Bésame Mucho. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame, bésame mucho. Tengo miedo perderte, perderte después. Quiero tenerte cerca, mirarme en tus ojos, verte junto a mí. Piense que tal vez mañana yo ya estaré lejos, muy lejos de ti. Bésame, bésame mucho, como si fuera esta noche la última vez. Bésame, bésame mucho, que tengo miedo perderte, perderte después. Que tengo miedo perderte, perderte después. We're so glad you're joining us tonight for a special edition of Connections talking about the importance of music in forming multicultural relationships and the role that music plays as a universal language. When I come back, we're going to be talking to music therapist Tammy Lim. Stick around.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer, Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses, with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Hello, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're listening to and watching Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. I'm your host, Bree Beynon, and so excited to be able to introduce a good friend of mine, colleague, one of our PBMTI music therapists, Tammy Lim. Thank you so much for being here, Tammy.
Hi, Bree. Thank you for having me here.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure. So Tammy not only is board-certified music therapist, newly certified neurologic music therapist, newly graduate of her master's program, just doing an amazing thing. So congratulations on all of those things.
Thank you.
Before we get to all those different kind of certifications and specialties that you've been picking up and learning in as fast as you can, really, it seems. Let's start at the beginning. What's your background? What kind of got you interested in seeking out music therapy as a career?
Well, why music therapy? Now we have to go back to maybe 10 years ago. Everybody think about what they want to do after high school. One incident happened in my life is I noticed in Malaysia people have some need in in mental health. That we don't talk much. We don't really talk about it. When people go a bit crazy, that's why we talk. Usually, it's different kind of diagnosis that after I learned that, but we call it all crazy. But there's not a lot of care, and I notice that's what's really lacking in my country. But myself as a musician, that I was trained as a pianist since the age of 4. Is what all the Asian kids do. We are sent to a music lesson, private lessons since we were young, and somehow we have to learn some kind of skills. So after I graduated from my high school, music in Malaysia, it's not a first consideration to be a career. It's a no. No, it just doesn't come to my mind. Although I love music, so my parents also encouraged me to do psychology, as if psychology is gonna make a lot of money. Simply because they don't really know what psychology is. For that time, I don't really know, but I just know it's something about the mental health. It's something that I noticed that maybe I can start from there. I studied psychology. That was my bachelor degree. I transferred to the United States. Just in this country, Western country, it's more developed in this area. So I came here as a junior.
For your psychology degree?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I went to this school, University of North Texas. It's one of the biggest music school. And my life, that relationship with music just started again. That I see people actually can do music as a career. But I was already junior, close to senior, that I shouldn't just drop it. And I went to a party and met a music therapist. Yeah, and which I didn't know about this career. Once I learned about music therapy, I decided that's where I want to do. Just God sent. Everything just put together. I had this psychology background and meet my passion in music. That's here it comes. It's a good marriage, and I decided to do music therapy without a doubt.
Every time I have a music therapist on here, it's the exact same. My mom, who's in the studio today, is listening. She's nodding. She's like, "Yep, I've listened to every show, and everybody says the same thing." I had no idea it was a job. I didn't know. I've shared myself. I was applying to schools for psychology and classical vocal performance. I was going to be the only opera singing psychologist. I don't know what I was going to do with that, but that was my big plan. So as I'm listening to you share that, I'm thinking this is another reason why I love even having the platform of this show. And maybe we can reach kids in middle school and let them know that music therapy is even an option. That there's something like this, because I hear this every time that we go through school. I feel lucky that I found out in high school and that I was able to go for my bachelor's. But I'm one of the only people that I know that I've talked to down here in Florida that's had that case. So anyways, I'm so thankful that so many of us get to share our stories in this way to let people know that it is an option, because it's such a perfect fit for those that get called to it, really.
It is. Especially the reason why I'm here in the United States, it's just it's an opportunity in the United States. Always this kind of healthcare, welfare, healthcare. It's more advanced. I really say it's more advanced in many other countries that I know, and in this area, it's more systematic, structured. In terms of education and even in terms of profession, it's very structured. That we know, when we are trained, and then we know where we're going. This is the good thing, and what attracts me to the United States.
What was that transition like, coming from Malaysia to America?
Trust me, at my age of 19, I was Chinese educated until 18 years old. So I started my college. I couldn't even speak a real English sentence.
When you moved here?
Yeah, it was hard. It's just hard. When I went to class, I had to pretend I understand just because I don't understand. I have to go back and read the textbook over and over again, check the dictionary word by word. Yeah, it was hard in the beginning, and when even I went to the movie theater in Malaysia, when it's American movie, we have a subtitle with all 3 languages. But in United States, there's no subtitle. I went to the movie. I didn't understand at all. The language is first thing. It's the most challenging as an international student. English is not my first language.
What helped you learn when you were here?
Now, it's very easy to chicken out by just hanging out with my friends that only speak my language. But thanks God that I have some friends around me that willing to help me. They are Americans. They are very patient when I talk to them. That's very tricky is when people they're not very sensitive. You can see that look that they're impatient, or maybe I was just too shy to talk. But the people that I met so far, they're very open. They say it's okay, and they say I love your accent. They're giving more confidence that I can slowly say what I want to say. It's not because I have language disorder. It's just I cannot translate what in my mind to what I want to say. Yeah. So the big factor, the major factor are the people that the support that I have. Yes, and one thing I went to speech therapy even. That helped me. I went to speech therapy for 2 years to reduce my accents because I know in music therapy I have to speak. Like now today I have to speak. Yeah.
I was going to ask if going through that experience of coming here how that has impacted your sensitivity towards working with patients from different cultures, which we're going to talk in more detail. But I know that, especially in hospice care, you don't really know what you're walking into. I mean, we know the country of origin or maybe a religion, but we don't really know what someone's primary language is when they speak. But also, for what you're saying, is being perceived as having a language disorder when really you're saying it's learning the language. I imagine that on both sides kind of you have a sensitivity more towards the people that you work with, understanding that frustration.
It is definitely true when with the older adults, they end up they only hang out with their own group of people. It's kind of it's very natural that when people feel more comfortable hang out with their own group of people and maybe end up not speaking English anymore. That they're just sufficient enough to just that group of people. It's not easy, and it takes a lot of fear when they reach out to the mainstream and go to the restaurant, anywhere that English is it's the main language that people talk. So I can understand some patients that, although I cannot speak their language, sometimes I have Creole patients from Haiti, patient from Jamaica. They speak a little bit English. Basically mainly from Haiti. From in this area. Yeah.
And that being one of the groups that you do for PBMTI,
Right.
would you speak about that group and the kids that you're working with?
Yeah, this group, they are, it's a after school program. They call them high risk kids. Yeah, it's just because high risk, just because they are minority in this country, and they are just like many other kids. For this program, we use music to create that group cohesion, group identity. They call themselves joyful noise. And by being able to play music to convey that identity through music in a very gentle way, increase their confidence, increase their identity. They know what they want to do, and this music can become a skills or interest in them that help them, adapt to the life. I use music to introduce different cultures. That is also a very interesting way and a fun way to learn about this country.
And I know in just about a minute, we're going to hopefully get to see a little bit of a clip that you brought of working with the kids. And this is at Paul's Place is the name of the after-school program. But from the one concert I've gone to and the other that I watched the video of, you were doing rapping, beatboxing, drumming, boom whacker, singing African. A little bit of everything.
Yes, they put. We learn some African drumming. We learn a little bit of Jewish culture using music. Zungali Gali, it's a children's music. Boom whacker. What else we did? We did rapping. It's they love it. It's just they're just like many other kids. They were born here, and we use the rap there, increase their it matched their interest.
Yeah.
And also at the same time to learn the culture in the United States.
So what is this clip that we're gonna hopefully get to play? What are we gonna see?
This next clip is gonna be a Christmas that they perform. The past Christmas, we play boom whacker and jingle bell, and we also rearrange this Santa Claus is Coming to Town in a rap version.
So fun. I love it. And when you said this the first time, I just played it on repeat all day. You never get this out of your head. So Freddie, if you have it, roll the video. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Do you know Freddie has the video to roll? Nope. Oh, on the phone. We'll come back. We'll do it later. We'll do it later.
No problem.
Actually, we're going to cut to a commercial now because Sheen is going to be calling in a minute all the way from Malaysia. I'm so excited to talk with her. So stick around. We'll be right back after this commercial.
All right.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer. Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses, with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888-565-1470. Now back to the show. Hi, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're listening to and watching Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you're just joining us, we're talking about music as the universal language today. Not only how we can use music as professionals or caregivers or in our own everyday lives to connect with others outside of our own culture, but how people from other cultures come and use music and kind of adapt to American culture as well. So we're kind of approaching this subject from from all aspects, which has been great. Been talking to Tammy Lim. Thank you so much for being here to share about your experience coming from Malaysia to get educated here on music therapy and psychology in the United States, working now in the United States. And we are just about to, we have our clip up. All right, let's cut to that quick. So tell us again what we're looking at in our video. Do you see you have your video up from the Paul's Place?
They're playing the boom whacker, and then there's a group at the back, big boxing, and a rapper and a front.
I'm not sure if we have the audio from that playing, but
no.
It's adorable to watch. So if you're watching this, it's super cute. And if you can hear it, are you rapping? Are you beatboxing?
No.
The kids doing it?
Yeah, the kids were doing it. They learned a beatbox. They put into parts, and the boom whacker was a bass line, and the rapper they chose what they want to do, and they put in a group.
So fun. And it was Santa Claus coming to town, right?
Yeah.
And who are they performing for?
They were performing for the volunteers and the teachers and other students.
At the after-school program?
Yeah, after-school program.
Very, very cool. Joyful Noise. Oh, there you go. And they picked that name for themselves, right?
Yes, they gave it themselves.
I love it. And they are, just to be clear, if anyone wasn't listening earlier, they're children, Haitian children, right? Who are living, like you said, considered a higher risk or at-risk neighborhood. Again, like you said, because they're considered a minority in their community, a specialty program, after-school program for them.
Right. And then the director bringing music for them to for an interest, and then also create a group cohesion, and have them something that they're doing thing, and then they're performing. They're not only learning; they're actually performing to the group, and it's a contribution, entertainment.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's wonderful. It's so fun to be a part of that. Just the few times I've gotten to watch and be a part of it, it's been really neat to see what you are doing is really exciting with them. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you.
Do we have Sheen on with us? Hi, Sheen. Are you there?
Hi, good morning.
Hi. It is good morning where you are. Thank you so much for waking up so early to be with us.
No problems. I should be saying good evening instead, right?
That's okay. Right. That's all right. It's a good day wherever we are. Well, again, thank you so much for taking the time to join us and to call in. I just wondered if we could just even start at the beginning of, same question I asked Tammy. I don't know if you were listening earlier, able to hear us, but just how did you learn about music therapy and get interested in choosing this as a career path?
Yes, I was actually listening to you guys, and it took me a lot of self-control to press the stop button so I can call in.
Oh.
This is really getting very interesting for me as well. Wow, for myself, I think I've heard of music therapy when I was in high school.
Smarter.
You got lucky like me.
Yes, I got slightly luckier. I was looking for a career in music just because when I was growing up, it was such a big part of my life. I was alone on my own a lot, and that was this one thing that I grew up with, and that I have it with me at all times, that has been with me through a lot of things. So without knowing what music therapy means, what it does, I don't know. It just felt like it's I have a connection to it. So I've heard about it. I Googled it a little bit. But when it was time to go to college, it wasn't a viable option at that time, simply because we don't have that in Malaysia, and it costs quite a bit because of the exchange rate to actually go over to countries who offer programs in music therapy. So it took me so I didn't do my first undergraduate degree in music therapy. I was in public relations instead. No, that was my career, but I did do a music degree in arranging. That happened, and it passed. After that, I was in public relations simply because it happened also. After a few years in the corporate industry, I realized that, you know what, my passion is still music, and it's still people. And I remembered this thing called music therapy that I heard about, and I decided to end my career and go back into music therapy.
Wow. I'm so glad you did. That's a big change. And because like you said, that's not there was an opportunity in your own country for a program, right? Is that what you're saying? There's
No, yeah, not at all.
Yeah, no. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, there are no music therapy programs here.
So where did
That's why
you get your
Tanya-
education?
I went to Berklee College of Music in Boston.
Very nice.
Yeah.
One of the best.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it costs a lot too.
Yeah, that's true. Yes. Very good. Did you work in the States then, or did you go right back to Malaysia after finishing your education?
After 7 months of internship, I had some downtime in which I did a little bit of work in Boston, and then, but I came back to Malaysia right, like, shortly after that, like in 3 to 4 months, yeah.
Had that kind of been your plan, to just kind of come to the States for the program, but to ultimately to return?
I did not plan to return. I was planning to take it as it goes.
Sure.
So when I was in Boston, I realized that, wow, that was this whole new world of music therapy and, using music in so many settings with so many people. I was actually very, very excited to see what it could do. There were new researchers everywhere. So it wasn't my immediate plan to return. But after a while, I think, it took 3.5 years for it to set in, for me to start missing home and missing my culture, missing my friends, my family. That's why I decided to come back.
And when you came back, what did you have a job opportunity, or did you create a job opportunity?
Actually, when I came back, I was offered a part-time job in PR, because public relations, that was what I have been doing for the past 7 years before going back to school. So, and because it's hard, it's not hard actually. It's I'm just not sure how it works here, like what the industry in music therapy is like here, and that was something that could pay my loans and my bills. So I took that and decided to do only part-time, so I can scout around, feel around, and just see what music therapy like here, so that I could eventually either transition back or be in music therapy in some ways. So that was the initial plan.
Are you working as a music therapist now?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, good. So it did work out.
There was a lot of, in transition, there was a lot of, part-time public relations, part-time music therapy, and it was a little bit different. It was very different. In fact, the two career choices, the two career paths. But this year, I have finally been able to transition completely into music therapy.
Oh, my goodness. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's wonderful. What population are you working with?
I spend some of my time in the learning center. So we work in sort of special education, children with learning disabilities or children who just want help learning. I spend some of my time in a local hospital in oncology, pediatric oncology. So that's more palliative care kind of work. I have a couple of private clients as well. So, yes, that's a lot of fun.
That's great. And it sounds like you get a good variety. You're working with a couple in different settings, getting some great experience.
Yeah, exactly. I'm very happy that it happened that way, because I've always liked, the diversity of the populations that music can be in. And to have that's just really good.
Because I purely do not know, what is the field of music therapy like in Malaysia? Are there many of you? Are you in contact with each other?
Yes, we actually are. Tammy can show you the chat group we have on this app called WhatsApp.
What?
So there's two handfuls of us around that.
Two hands.
There's a handful of us in Kuala Lumpur, which is the what do you call that, Tammy?
Capital.
Yes, Malaysia. One MP in East Malaysia, and a few more like Tammy overseas that we do keep in touch with. There's Ming in New York, Kevin is in Boston, and we are actually quite tightly knitted. we because music therapy is just so new in Malaysia. Like the work here is something that I had to get used to, because coming from the United States, Boston, where it's pretty pervasive, it's everywhere, and there is a certain awareness about it in all settings. To Malaysia, where it's mostly in special education, and most people don't know what music therapy is. I mean, most people still maybe don't know in most places, but here people really don't know. So, and my passion, I do have a soft spot for doing medical and psych work. So coming back, there is a lot of education and raising awareness raising that you have to do. It's even more than the States, although we do have to do that in the States as well. And if you're going to a new setting like medical, there are less resources that we can rely on. There are less doctors who know what it is. You have less colleagues who can help you develop something or work with. There is so much less of that. Yeah.
I can't even imagine, to be honest, how to even start that conversation. That kind of leads me to my next question. Tomorrow, I'm heading up to Atlanta for our regional conference, for our regional AMTA, American Music Therapy Association conference, to present Friday on selling music therapy with confidence, how to walk into that first meeting or networking group or whatever it may be, and present your best self as we're presenting music therapy. So, I'll be talking a lot about what we call the 30-second elevator speech. You have 30 seconds to tell someone what music therapy is and how to prepare that for the right audience, whoever you're speaking with. What could possibly be your 30-second speech in Malaysia, where I'm really interested to hear this, that where you are facing, like you said, it is a challenge everywhere. People are still learning, but you're in a country where people there aren't music therapists even working. They maybe have never even heard of it at all. How are you giving them that 30-second explanation of what you do?
It was a tough question when we were doing this in school in Boston, but it's I think I give up trying to answer that question.
Oh, no. You're just like, just hire me. I'm great. You'll love it once you see it. No need to explain.
Yeah, I wish I could do that.
Yeah,
it was never 30 seconds. That wasn't going to happen.
Right.
Go ahead, Tammy.
Yeah, in Malaysia, it's more like there's a need that needs to, awareness of even healthcare, mental health, special education, that big topic before we go into music therapy. These big topics. And of course, when there's a lot of education, just imagine in America, how I explain people, just imagine 30 or 40 years ago.
Okay.
How is it like in America? It's like how it is like in Malaysia now.
So, Sheen, if we think about all those books that we read in school, right, of all these original music therapists in the States, that's what you're doing now in Malaysia. So 40 years from now, the students in Malaysia will say, Sheen and Tammy did this. They started this. That's exciting.
It is exciting.
That's why so exciting.
I really appreciate Sheen's willing to do it, because she's there now. I cannot, no matter how much I describe, I cannot tell you how it is like, because she is there now. She's on the wall now. Yeah. She's in a real field, and how it feels like. Yes.
What would you say, Sheen, is one of the biggest differences or challenges between doing your internship in the States and working as a professional in Malaysia?
I think actually that is very, very interesting. I think I have been a little bit slightly luckier. Tammy was right. I really appreciate her bringing that up, the whole topic of how awareness on not just music therapy, and special education, different diagnoses, and psych. It's a taboo here. People don't want to be labeled anything, not because it's because people judge them, and it's like Tammy state much area is just crazy or no. There's no, you're just different because you have different set of characteristics and stuff like that. That said, music being, what we were talking about, music being universal. Once you are actually doing it, it kind of helps pull a lot of messages through. I was fortunate to have found people, a learning center, Health Learning, who realized or who understood or who believe in properties of music, of expressive arts, and they let me basically, they listen, they welcome me with open arms, they promote music therapy to their clients, and I had that for me there. So it made a lot of the work much easier. In the hospital, when we do palliative care work, it's so much about the patient, and especially if you're in pediatrics, doctors care, like everyone, they put so much attention on patients, and they all have big hearts, that when you go in and you do it, and when they see the connection we can build through music, whether it's between therapist and patient with other patients with other stuff, or a patient with themselves, it becomes a very big advocate. It's just a very natural advocate that you have on your side. Mm-hmm. And that opens the door for, further communication. So it is challenging in a way, but because music is what it is, it's so powerful and it's universal that it doing the work, it actually feels the same, except that, I just have to use a lot of local tunes. Actually, not a lot, just a couple local tunes, just to be able to get that cohesiveness. But yeah, it's actually not too bad.
It sounds honestly very similar. I mean, even if we may have more recognition here or greater in numbers, I mean, we're still, 250 in the state of Florida, which I know that does sound like a lot when you think about healthcare professions. It's all relative. But whether you're here in Florida or you're there in Malaysia, you get a champion, an advocate on your side. It makes all the difference, and the work speaks for itself.
Right. Yes, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am so glad that you've made the connections that you've made. You've met the people that you've met to help facilitate you bringing that work to your community. That's so exciting.
It is.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Keep out of work.
Yes. Sheen, thank you so much for taking the time to wake up early and call in and join us today. I can't tell you what it means to us. I really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm. Right.
No problems. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really glad to be part of this. And Tammy should come home soon.
No, she can never come back. We're not letting her go. Oh, my goodness. Thank you again so much. We're going to cut to a quick commercial break and close up with our conversation with Tammy when we get back.
Mom's fall was a wake-up call. We knew she needed help, but we also knew she'd never leave her home.
With jobs and kids, we can't always be there. We weren't sure who to trust to help around the house and make sure she takes her medications.
We did our research and found our answer. Bright Star Care. Their home care teams are led by registered nurses, with help available 24/7.
Thanks to Bright Star Care, Mom can stay where she wants to be, at home.
For a standard of care that raises the bar, call 844 for Bright Star.
The Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute is a professional music therapy practice serving medical, community, and educational settings throughout Southeast Florida. With our experienced team of 11 board-certified music therapists, we use music and research-based therapeutic interventions to help individuals of all ages and abilities reach their goals and increase their quality of life. For more information on our services and programs, please visit our website at pbmti.com. Engage with us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, or call us at 561-747-9944. You are listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. If you'd like to join the conversation, the toll-free number is 888 565 1470. Now back to the show. Hello, thank you so much for joining us tonight. You're listening to and watching Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. I hope that you've been able to listen throughout the show. We've been having a great conversation with both Tammy and Sheen. Tammy is a music therapist working here locally in Southeast Florida. She works with hospice patients. She works for PBMTI, working with children the parents are Haitian immigrants and considered at-risk youth, and using music as a way to help them connect with their peers, grow in self-confidence, perform their new music skills. And we watched a little video of that, which was so fun to see. Tammy, you impress me in so many ways. And one of them just being how eager you are to take advantage of this time that you have here in the States. What a brave, big move it is just to even come here. You were sharing earlier in the show about their struggles of coming here and not speaking any of the language, which I can't even imagine that situation. I just was immersed for 10 days in a country that I didn't understand the language, and I was like using my hands for everything. I didn't know what to do. So I can't imagine that. It's incredible what you've done. And not only that you've made these moves for yourself to come and learn about music therapy, do your internship, to work here, but you want to learn as much as possible while you're here, which is so clear to see. And a couple of the different certifications talked about NMT, neurologic music therapy, which we've talked about a lot on this show. But one thing we have never talked about on the show is the Bonney method, guided imagery in music, which you went to the level 1 training for. And I just wondered if you would share a little bit about what that means.
Bonney method, okay, it's a good question, and it's one of the advanced music therapy technique that same with neurological music therapy, Nodal Robin. So the Bonney method, GIM, is also one of those. Bonney method, basically it's music centered music therapy. We use music itself is a co-therapist. It use music bring us to other state consciousness, access to our our unconscious material, and use this unconscious material to bring insight. So it is psychodynamic oriented. Body method requires the training that 3 trainings. So it usually it can take much longer, but the whole thing maybe take about 2 years. Some music therapy that are interested in this approach, they will go further to advance their techniques after they got their MTBC.
Do you think you will continue on?
Oh yes, this is a approach that I specifically has the passion in it. It helped me to re-establish the relationship with music. So before we become a practitioner, we are the clients. And we went through the whole experience. It's a music experience that use music to trigger some images that we see them as unconscious material. The therapists will help us to work through these images, to work on the issue that we want to work on in our life, that increase our self-awareness, self-identity. And unconscious is a good teacher. There, it tells the truth.
Well, I hope that people keep inventing new certifications so that you never leave and you just keep learning and you stay here forever. That's what I hope. So you were saying before we are a therapist, we are receiving, because we're going through the process of appreciating music ourselves. You know, before we get into being music therapists, we are musicians at heart, and your passion was piano or keyboard. So if you're listening on the radio and you can't see the video, we've had a quick set change in between, and Tammy's got her keyboard here, so we've got a few minutes left. I'd love for you to just bring us home tonight with some music.
Okay. Well, I chose this song, Heal the World by Mike Jackson. I chose this song specifically just for today we've been talking about multicultural. Music is universal, and there's a lot of things going on in this world, and I hope the music will bring comfort in, we're here together. There's a place in my heart, and I know that it is love. And this place could be much brighter than tomorrow. If you really try, you'll find there's no need to cry. In this place, you feel there's no hurt and sorrow. There are ways to get there if you care enough for the living. Make a little place, make a better place. Heal the world, make it a better place for you and for me and the entire human race.
Thank you so much for listening tonight. Thank you, Tammy, for being on. It's such a pleasure to hear about your background. Thank you, Sheen, for calling in, and we will see you next week. Thank you for listening to Palm Beach Music Therapy Connections. We hope you enjoyed today's program and discovered new ways to bring music, art, and dance into your home or workplace. Please find a copy of today's show at pbmti.com. If you have any questions for our guest or myself, please email me at Bree, that's BREE, at pbmti.com, or call the Palm Beach Music Therapy Institute at 561-747-9944. Tune back in next week for an all-new live show. See you then.